Welcome to Wealth Coffee Chats, folks, for your daily live updates. Get the most out of today's episode by participating in the chat. Make sure you ask some questions, be part of the conversation, have a bit of fun, grab a coffee or a tea, take some notes, and get ready to start your day, folks. Quick few housekeeping rules, though. No spamming, no advertising or self-promotion in the chat. That's not on. Be kind and respectful to everyone when participating. And most of all, have a good time. Real estate investing can be your biggest asset. It also can be your most expensive asset when it comes to getting it right or getting it wrong, folks. It can be time-consuming, stressful, and that's why here at Positive, we have what's called a 6-star team, a full-service team that provides integrated wealth and property investing solutions and services simply designed to help you progress towards your goal of passive income through your property portfolio, folks. Make sure you check out our other podcasts on the Positive Mentor Network. Not only is there Wealth Coffee Chats, there's the Urban Property Investor. Drops every Wednesday with straight talking investing strategies and lessons with Sam Saggers. Property Investor Tales. This is where our clients, you guys, share real life stories from property investing, hosted by some of our advisors and strategists. And that's done every fortnight, dropping every Monday. Wealth, Wine and Wisdom, folks, that debriefs the week that was in the world of finance and property, hosted by yours truly, Jason Witten and Andy Fenton on Fridays. Hey, good morning, folks.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to another Wealth Coffee Chat.
Hope you're well, folks, wherever you are.
There it is, team. Morning. Morning, wherever you're tuning in from today.
Early bird gets the worm, they say. Here at Positive, we offer a 6-star team. It's a team that help you at every stage of your wealth creation journey.
General advice disclaimer. The information provided and made available through this podcast does not constitute financial advice. The information is of a general nature only and does not take into account your individual objectives, a financial situation, or needs. It should not be used, relied upon, or treated as a substitute for specific professional advice. We recommend that you obtain your own independent professional advice before making any decision in relation to your particular requirements or circumstances. Positive Tax Solutions and its representatives do not warrant the accuracy, completeness, or currency of the information provided on and made available through this podcast.
Well, good morning, everyone, to another Wealth Coffee Chat Tax Tuesday. My name is Anthony Wolfenden, and I was expecting to spend today giving you an update on the federal budget for 2025. We won't have to spend too much time on that. It's the shiny Bauble 2025 budget. Not much there, not much in the way of substance. From one side, the government, we have a very tiny tax cut of 1% and then 2% that don't cut in till next year and the year afterwards. That would save a family a couple of $100 and maybe $500 for the year for each person who's employed. There was a little in there about bulk billing, which is reasonable, and some help to buy schemes for homeowners, but really a tiny change that doesn't even cut in and help anyone at the moment. And then from the opposition, we have a sugar hit with a change in the fuel excise, but that's only for 12 months. So basically fuel gets cheaper. That is very useful, but that only lasts for 12 months, comes straight back and then hits us with inflation straight away, which would let the Reserve Bank keep rates high, I guess. They were looking at national gas plans and some migration reductions, details of which have yet to be announced, and firing 41,000 public servants, which of course will raise the unemployment rate in Australia to where the Reserve Bank would like it, which I guess is good. But when you add it all up, there's not a lot of substance there. And if you're a voter in Australia, you sort of have to wonder what's happening at the next election. What was not touched or not brought up was any sort of fundamental tax reform. Basically, the Australian tax system is heavily leveraged onto personal income tax. Corporations and exporters are not really touched that much. They get preferable rates. The brackets aren't indexed, so every year as inflation drives up wages and costs, we find ourselves getting taxed more. There's not much in there about climate change. There's not much in there about actual housing policies, like maybe building homes. There's not much in there about defence, where we're making major commitments to offshore partners that are a bit shaky. Not much about infrastructure, nothing about any sort of banking reforms. It's quite surprising, or maybe it's not. So let's have a little bit of look. I'm going to switch gears a bit, since we don't have much to talk about the budget, and talk about banks. I'm curious about what's happening with rates. The cash rates dropped to 3.2%, and yet many people on this call, or who are property investors, might be paying 6, 7, or 8% for their loans. That's really quite predatory. If you give Vanguard your money to invest in their high growth fund, they'll charge 0.29% to take your money, invest it, manage it, and grow it. Yet when you go and borrow money from a bank, they borrow money at just over 3%. They lend it to you at over 6%. Basically, that's like 100% margin. Most companies would operate on a 30% profit margin. Banks do have other costs apart from the cost of lending, obviously. But lending money out at twice what you borrow it for seems a little predatory to me. So I did write to the Treasurer about this. He's blocked me on social media, so I have to write a letter in. And I did get a response from Michelle Lee, who's the Director of Macroeconomics Analysis and Policy Division at Treasury. And the response was interesting. Australian government does not intervene in the decisions of the Independent Reserve Bank of Australia. Okay, well, we set that up so that the government wouldn't have to take the heat on rates. Okay, that's policy. That's been there since the 60s. We can have a long conversation about whether that's right or whether it's wrong. But you dig down a little bit further. The government considers that competition, not regulation, is the best means of ensuring consumers get value for money in financial services. Wow. Wow. Remember, we had a Banking Royal Commission where it was determined that banks had ripped off tons of people. So competition is not the answer. There is no competition. Banks charge what they will. If you are over 60 and you still have a mortgage and you go to refinance, try your luck with that. And because you can't refinance, if you are over 60, curiously, your rates on your loans just keep going up because they can charge what they like. So competition is not the answer. Regulation is. And where we stand at the moment is basically neither party really wants to get into it. So we have a very polarized electorate. There is an election coming up. I'd ask you guys to consider what's going on. Policy statements and budgets from both parties are pretty empty of substance because they go hit each other up when things get a bit interesting. The reality is there's nothing fundamental that's going to go on unless there's some sort of bipartisan action, and both parties won't really get together for that. So as far as I can tell, looking forward, when we have a choice at the election coming soon, a vote for either one of the major parties is basically a vote for shiny baubles and the status quo. We need some fundamental reform in our taxes. We need some fundamental regulation of banks that are taking and making hay while the sun shines, while we pay for it. So I'd ask you all to consider who you're voting for, and have a good thought as you walk into the ballot box, because that might be the only reason or the only place we get to change things. So that was an interesting digression, I guess, from talking about the budget, but we do need to make some good choices as a country as to who and where we go from here. It'd be nice to see some real change when we need it. Okay, that's it for Tax Tuesday. I hope everyone has a great week.
Thanks for watching another episode of Wealth Coffee Chat, folks. Make sure you like, subscribe, and turn on your notifications so you never miss a thing when we go live. Improve your portfolio and investing game, folks, with Wealth Coffee Chats live every morning at 8:10 each weekday. Make sure you join us. Previous episodes are also available wherever you get your podcasts, folks, as well as our other podcasts from the 6 Star team here at positivementor.com.au.